Hey everyone, it's Alisha here at Cosmic Gateway. I just wanted to jump on and first of all wish everyone a happy equinox. I hope that you're all doing well and that the equinox energies have met you with some grace, some balance, some equilibrium, a little bit of a reprieve from the intensity of the last, 3 or so weeks, especially moving through that eclipse was probably, from my own experience, one of the most intense eclipse passageways that I can remember. And there is still very relevant from what I've shared in the last update, about around the body stuff and the split happening within us and having the opportunity to choose our optimum timeline in each moment through each choice. And, I think I want to speak really openly and honestly. It's been such a time of deep releasing and letting go, especially on a physical, cellular level, and emotionally. And I think it all kicked off with quite a headstrong, very mental debris energy. So it's all the aspects, but it's heightened. I've been meaning to sit down and do this recording for a number of days because there's been lots of different experiences that I've had, insights, and just starting to sort of come out the other side to paint a bit of a bigger picture of what I get the sense of what is happening. This may not be relevant for everyone, but I certainly feel like there's definitely going to be a handful that will relate to a lot of what I'm going to share. And also I wanted to say thank you so much for everyone who takes the time to share a comment or a like. That really helps not only the channel, but I thoroughly enjoy reading the comments on all my platforms, but especially on YouTube. So thank you for those people who do feel the courage to, share a little comment or an update or an experience or a validation or just any sort of expression. I just want to thank you all. And what a journey it has been. I have been doing some really deep reflection of what has brought me to this place, because I feel like we're in a jump off point that's really edging out of the old, perhaps spiritual paradigm of what we've known and entering into a vast new space of relatively unknown. That was a big portion of my ponderings over the last couple of days. And I feel like I've been hinting or sharing that for a while. And I will get down to some more of the details and the specifics. So first of all, I've mentioned this in numerous ways, especially starting from about 6 months ago, the previous eclipse, talking about the luminous light body. I have been getting hits about this all year. And I feel like the energetics were ripe and that was sort of coming in, and we've been sort of moving through, working through the different layers. But I feel like it's really hit the physical body. And I do believe that the next 3 to 6 months of those that are going through this very intense passageway of energetics or aspects of self-integrating or merging in the physical body is really going to become quite visibly, quite visible in the next, 3 to 6 months is a time frame that I've been given. And that's approximate. Everyone's at their own time and pace with this. But what I get the sense is it essentially is the cosmic embodiment of frequency, or some may call it the oversoul, that's trying to emerge from within us, merge with us, or it's kind of the way that I see it visually. It's a two-part process. It feels like there's a lot of frequencies that are coming in that are supporting this, but it's actually activating something that has been dormant inside of us. And often, we talk about the nervous system and or the electrical system that operates within our body, and how we literally have the cosmos inside of us. And I feel like that is the template, essentially, of what is emerging. I've heard this in numerous ways through various conversations and through sessions, and I will share. So I don't do a lot of these sessions anymore, but I used to do soul star mapping, which was a 3-hour session where I go through looking at people's soul lineage and bringing forth about 4 to 5 different aspects of their most predominant versions of self through various incarnations of different star systems or earthly incarnations. And then there's an energetic merge that happens and a frequency that from that. So that the way that the session works essentially is those aspects come in, they communicate, they dialogue, they offer a frequency that's merged, and then I weave it through the person's body. Now, they're huge sessions. I love them. And I was just thinking about how I feel like when I used to read people's star map, it was something that presented in the forehead. Like I would see it through the face. This feels like, from the experience that I had last night, is kind of not just head, crown, third eye. This is a full embodiment. Now, as an example, I had a lot of physical pain moving through predominantly the left side of my body last night before I went to bed. Now, I've been working a lot on my right side because I've been having that pain kind of moving through for weeks now. And it's interesting how it just jumped to the left side. It was like all of a sudden. So that's why I know it's a lot of energy in motion. It's not so much, it's not a breakdown of the body as such. It's a breakthrough. There's a lot that is decompressing or deconstructing to create space for this template that's emerging. Now, I went into a very deep sleep last night, and for about 5 hours I knew that I was being energetically worked on, which has been happening for the best part of a few weeks now, most nights. Even if I feel the need to have a rest in the afternoon, I find that there's a lot of energetic work my body's been going through quite a lot. Now, I woke up with these 3 words in my head from that space last night, and it literally said the liver, Lyra, left side of the body. And when I woke up, my whole left side of the body was clear. I had no pain or discomfort. And I'm just laid there thinking, that's such an interesting concept. So I've been working specifically with cleaning my liver now for about 2 or 3 months, and it's kind of, I've got it in a good place. What this revealed to me in that space, I'm going to dig into this a little bit deeper. I feel like it's going to start to emerge through sessions and through my work, is where we're storing energetic overlays or imprints or traumas from different incarnations in different parts of the physical body. So if you're thinking about a template that literally holds all of your soul lineage, so not just this life, so we're not talking about a blueprint of this lifetime, but all combined, that is trying to kind of come online. It's a big process, right? So that's why I wanted to share this. If other people are going through this intensity of the body and emotionally, and dropping a lot of programs, dropping a lot of habits, addictions, like it's like everything's, and there's a lot of support in this too. Like I made a joke about how I've had to give up my relationship with pretty much all, sugar, carbs, coffee, it's all just sort of melting away. And it's been a much easier process than it ever has been before. But not to say that the body doesn't need a lot of support. It does. The nervous system, I mentioned about the vagus nerve reset, the lymphatic system, like, really getting in and doing those massages, really working with the body to help decompress what it's trying. It's like there's so much physical toxin release, but it's like an energetic move through. Now, going back to the liver lyre, left side. So my understanding, my left side of the body is my feminine side. You may agree with me, you might have it the other way around. It doesn't matter. I also see the left side of my body as my past, or what would be perceived as past. And I have a lot of memories from Lyra that would be kind of like the pinnacle of the trauma when the first, perhaps, dissension happened, or the first time distortion, darkness, black goo, you name it, kind of descended upon. It was like this very pure, pristine, gold, almost like a golden age. And then there was a lot of trauma where there was a lot of archonic forces that came in and sort of took over and took command. And I feel like this play out of some of the things that are happening in my life is the pinnacle of the unravel. It's almost going back through the cycles to unravel it through my body so that I can bring in all aspects of self in this cosmic template that's emerging, or the luminous diamond body. I use all these names interchangeably, but I do really feel like that's what is happening. And I don't believe that this has ever happened before. So that's what I mean is like dropping a lot of the spiritual templates of what we've known. I do feel like we're absolutely entering, my body's reacting like chills. We're absolutely entering into this pinnacle wave of uncharted territory because it hasn't been done in this way before. And the transformation of frequency of that template merging in physicality is such a big process. So I honor anyone who's going through that level of intensity, and I know that some are, some aren't, or to various degrees. I believe we all are going through a version of this. It just depends on where we're at in our path. How this sort of came to me was just on 10 years ago. Actually, it was Equinox 10 years ago where it was like the starting point of when my whole life changed. And it came with a visitation of an Indigenous woman who, at the end of the message, said to me that her name was Mother Earth. I have an interface with her for I can't even remember when, but she was talking about the changes and what the tribe of light essentially would do, and that we would understand and know our greatness through these passageways over the coming years. And it was an honoring of gratitude, of thanks. I feel that message sort of reverberate through my body as I share that, of intense emotion, of that remembrance of why we all came, and coming back to the soul self, and that soul knowledge and wisdom is so important through these passageways. The mind has been strong, or can be strong, especially when our body's doing weird things that we don't understand, or we're having very eruptive emotions that we don't understand. All these aspects and elements. So it's coming back to pure soul and knowing and knowledge. So I would encourage you, and this is of course not medical advice, if you have serious concerns, seek professional support or guidance. But when you have strange anomalies within the body, like, take the time to connect with it and ask what it's expressing, how you can support it, and what it needs. And I think often when we get that, we can get such a big relief. Please bear with me while I just shut off my tap that's dripping. This is real. Okay, back to it. So talking about releasing of emotions, and tap starts to drip. So being able to connect with your body or the emotions from that very soul place, that soul guidance place. And sometimes when we do that, it can dissolve, or it can pass, or the intensity can subside. And sometimes I like to work with being given a symbol or a color to infuse into that area to help support it. And often if I need additional support, like a practitioner, an energy worker, someone in an area of expertise, often that person will show up, within 24 hours. And that's always been the most efficient or effective way to support the body in that very intuitive way. So I'll carry on. There's some other topics that I want to get down to. One is, so obviously the cosmic body, or the integration. Oh, that's right. So I was talking about 10 years ago, and then follow from that visitation, I started to see my higher self and communicate. And that was kind of the beginning of this beautiful, connection of dialogue, of guidance that really opened up during that time. And I remember taking a vow that each day I wanted to embody more of that version that showed up to me this one morning. That version was very human-like, just looked like me, perhaps with better hair, maybe a little bit taller, but there wasn't a lot of differences, maybe just aesthetic differences and just an all-knowing presence or energy. This time, this upgrade or this embarking on has very similar key markers, but this time it's like the embodiment of the cosmic self, the monadic self. So it's not just one, it's all soul fragments that are kind of integrated into one frequency template that holds and contains all the knowing. Now, that's a big job. So the 6 month, 3 to 6 month integration phase for some might take years, for some might be really quick and rapid, but I do feel like this is where we're embarking on. And the vision that keeps coming to me around this is that there are a select group of people, or a handful of people that are going through this phase. And it's like once that process is completed, there is a huge ripple of energy. So even though this passageway of what I'm describing may not be resonant or relevant for everyone, it will affect everyone because everyone's on that trajectory. Or at least, those who have chosen it, they're on that trajectory. Some are just going through this process a lot more rapidly than others. But it literally showed me like a tier of a fountain. So there may be a very small group at the top that are going through maybe a more rapid ascension or integration. There was another word that sort of came, assimilation of this. And it's like once that phase or process is completed, there's almost like a burst of light, like an explosion of light that then ripples down through the tiers. And if I remember correctly, I'm sure I mentioned this in one of my audio updates in May, a similar concept. So you can see I'm still, over the last 6 months, these concepts have come through, but they're coming through more refined, more in specific detail and a greater level of understanding. And so imagine like a fountain, there's a flow-on effect that allows this frequency that's being accessed or activated that will have this ripple through, and everyone essentially that comes in contact with it will benefit because it will kind of stimulate or activate the next level of embodiment and frequency. So going through these times, you may feel like the body needs more rest or more structure. I've definitely benefited from a lot of movement routine, a lot of exercise, gentle, and huge hydration, and just allowing the body to rest when it needs to. Even if it's like for 20 minutes, if you can get a window of 20 minutes and you just want to lay there in stillness, breathe into the body. I often find like there's a lot of work that just happens in those moments. Of course, laying on the grass, on the earth, I feel like there's a lot of activity of like inner earth beings that seem to be quite active or present at this time too. Lots of different beings, actually. It's become quite a heightened time of interfacing with lots of different, not just cosmic beings, a lot of animals. I've noticed like a lot of different feline beings. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So I think one of the things that is amplifying this potentially. Now, I know there's a huge buzz and everyone's talking about 3-eye Atlas. I personally haven't delved into, I don't have an opinion. I certainly think there is a definite frequency and there's an intelligent life force. I don't think it's just a rock floating through space. and maybe I'll get more specifics, maybe I won't. I just don't feel it's my role to connect in with it, because everyone has an opinion. I've listened to some, I find them interesting, but I think the thing for me is what is the most important is that everyone's talking about it and everyone's focus is kind of going more cosmic, galactic. It's widening people's lens to a broader range of frequency possibilities. And because of that, I feel like that's going to set off kind of like a cosmic boom, if you will, collectively. And so I wouldn't be surprised that over the next couple of months, a lot of people start to have more sort of cosmic awakenings, which I feel that there's a difference between a spiritual awakening and a cosmic awakening. It's much more vast and broader. It completely flips your whole world, and it's for a lot of people it's a frequency of home. And so I imagine that this big cleansing or purification process that we've been in, or a lot of people have been in, especially over the last month, is just, it's preparing us, I think, essentially is what we've been moving through pre-eclipse, during the eclipse, throughout September. Well, actually, it feels like this all started late August into September, and some people might even argue all year, but it is preparing us to have a clean body, clean spiritual hygiene, the subtle bodies to be clear, to be a channel. And I do believe that many people are being prepared to integrate those versions of self, those templates, perhaps having some level of contact experience, being able to bridge beyond the veil, preparing to have a taste or enter into a new space or reality that is there. It's always there. It's just we have to attune into that. So I'm feeling quite excited about the unfolding of the next couple of months. I think it's going to be very action-packed. I think there's going to be a lot of big energies moving through and probably create, no doubt, a lot of turbulence and chaos on the global scale. But my focus has been so much more inward rather than outward. I find that if my energy goes too far out, I become very overwhelmed and quite scattered because it is so chaotic out there. So that's maybe just a gentle reminder for some of you that might be really sensitive, just to like be able to cocoon yourself, to keep your energy clear and not allowing it to go into overwhelm, or if you do, bringing yourself back in. I have had a handful of experiences over the last couple of weeks where I've absolutely been communicating with cosmic intelligences of varieties. Probably about 2 weeks ago, I was woken from a deep sleep, and I was still muttering because I was having this conversation with a cosmic being around people's readiness to be able to receive some form of contact. I don't personally, as much as I would love it, I don't think we're kind of at a disclosure point or a big landing. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I feel like it's more individuals being prepared, so it's happening more on an individual level of being able to have some sort of cosmic awakening type experience. But yeah, I've been having these numerous dialogues, and I feel like I've been pulled into various meetings now for weeks, which I haven't been able to retain any details of that. And I think that's probably for a reason. I think that will reveal itself when the time is right. And of course, I will share as I can. So one of the other things I wanted to mention was, I think it was Friday morning. Where are we? No, it was on the weekend. Saturday, perhaps. I've lost count of days. I got woken. So I've been having intermittently more higher, like, New Earth timeline type dreams, and then it goes into murky chaos. So the murky chaos, I feel, is very much what is predominantly working its way through the collective, which is lots of themes of like the lower 3 chakra points. Lack, scarcity, poverty, not feeling safe. Then there's been this big relationship. I feel like we're at another huge precipice point of the relationship templates having a big mix up. Lots of people going through splits or separations or pauses or blow ups. And this is just part of this tapestry that's unfolding. And then obviously the stomach, the power. And it's really a time where I feel one of the most important things is to really be able to restore and reclaim our own personal power and sovereignty. It's like once we have all those energetics kind of intact or in more of an alignment, that's where we can bridge into much greater depth of heart expansion and higher consciousness. So I know that through the last couple of weeks, so many people going through relationship breakdowns. Sometimes it can be a breakdown to breakthrough. Sometimes it's the end of a soul contract. It never feels good. It's highly emotional. It's confusing. It's heartbreaking. It's hard to understand. Sometimes the veil gets pulled back and you kind of get the opportunity to see what you didn't see all along. And I know a lot of people have been going through these kind of turbulent, chaotic relationship dynamic switching around, changing. And that always precedes a lot of divine template coupling, level up. So sometimes for some people in some dynamics, it's just a temporary break or split as each one has to maneuver through the level up or the process that they're going through separately to then come back and meet each other in that new frequency bandwidth. And sometimes it's just a falling away of an end of a phase, an end of a relationship that's got each person to as far as they can go. And sometimes we don't even know when we're walking through that which way it's going to land, but it's like having to surrender fully to the highest good of all and be okay with that, knowing that you're being held and supported. So my heart goes out to anyone who's going through that sort of turbulent mix-up. But yeah, that there's been that dynamic. So if you've been going through the lower three chakra kind of churn. It might be just one, it might be all. That's very necessary, I guess, and it's very pertinent in the collective field. I know that I can be at home in my own zone or bubble feeling quite good. I literally step out of my house and I can feel the intensity of all those elements going on, and it can feel quite overwhelming for the system. So going back to this, having the higher dimensional dreams are starting to drop through again, which is always such a refreshing relief after periods of intensity, because it's like that's what the body orients to. That's where the body feels home. That's where the body feels good and at peace. And it's like coming out of those dreams. It's like that energy kind of emanates or permeates through the day. What I witnessed when I was waking up was a translucent light that did an arch. So at the beginning of the arch felt like the present moment. And it was like, I want to say 5 columns of light that were intertwined like a rope. They were separate, but they were intertwined together, which to me always represents a timeline. And they did this arch and they landed, and as they landed had all molded into one. And it was such a powerful vision. The energy of it, the essence of it was like a translucent white, kind of iridescent, had a sheen of rainbow, but I think the most visible color in it was pink. So pink and white, maybe even with like a sheen or hint of gold in it. And when it landed, I literally felt the presence of a hand on my back, and I felt this energy just flood through me. And it was just this, I've witnessed it before, but not for a long time. It was like this uplifting frequency that just like moves through the body and just gives the body all the strength, like everything it needs. And this, like, we've arrived, like, boom. And when I saw it land, I literally heard, just wait till November, there's a big surprise. And that was it. And I've been contemplating on whether to share that or not, whether that was more of a personal message or a collective. But I actually got the nod, like, no, share it, because it's personal and collective. It feels like something that's really preparing to land once we hit November. And I do feel and sense, and obviously I'll go into more depth in the October update, but I do feel this sense of lightening and ease from the intensity that we've just sort of been put through the the rinse and repeat cycle. So I feel like that's enough for now. I would love to hear any thoughts or any impressions or any updates, anything that you wish to share. I know I'll get off this and go, oh, I forgot this and that. But yeah, I'd love to hear in the comment section if this resonates, if you're feeling into certain things, whatever sort of comes to mind, or if you have any suggestions of things that you'd like me to cover for the next video, which will be the October update and read. So big hugs. Final note, if you'd like to connect for a session or anything like that, all the details will be in the description box if you feel that you need support. And also I have just completed the soul body merge container, so that will be available as a at your own pace. There's 14 guided processes around this sort of body soul merge integration process that I've been talking about, which has got some really powerful and potent guided processes in there. So I'll put the link if that is something that you feel you would benefit from. If not, once again, as always, just sending so much love, thinking of you all as we move through these very potent and powerful times. And I will connect with you all very soon. Much love.